And you're talking veg only for these sprays, right?
Veg only, of
Yeah,
course.
I think we loosely mentioned that earlier in regards to, like, the only thing I've heard of is water.
Spraying, yeah.
pH
spraying,
water. But
that's a
nothing
heavy,
sprayed in flower is a
There
very...
you go, yeah.
That's where changing your environment in flower, picking off leaves, you know, giving them hell with the wind, doing things
Dropping
that are
temps.
natural. Temperature, humidity.
Drybacks.
These are things that you can do in flower. But when it comes to veg, you're in war. But that's the difference when, again, the argument of auto versus photos, which we have an episode on the Seedsman's train sessions about that, where you kind of see this is where you have more forgiveness with an auto or with a photo versus an auto. If you have these issues, you got a window. And if you don't catch it, you're flipping into flower, and your flower may suck, because if you don't get your plant taken care of before you go to flower with these issues, you're fucked, dude. Not only can you not fight them then, but your yield difference.
Oh, it's huge. Your plant is suffering.
Other than bud rot, because your buds are big, whatever, but you're not getting any yield at that point.
No, pests.
Powdery mildew and any of the pests, dude, you're like, what? Something suffocated my yield. Like, it's literally, they're like sucking the sap out of the leaves, the energy out of your plant, the life out of the roots. They're making it so your plant can't thrive. But then the only way to combat that is to mess up your environment so then your plants can't thrive. So if you don't do all this stuff and then give a few weeks for recovery, you get to that point where, like, all of this is not even worth it, and you should just cull it. I'm a firm believer, and man, I've taken a year with genetics where I'm like, all right, man, damn it, I'd be yielding pounds if I just got rid of this finicky damn plant that always has the same issues. But sometimes you love that genetics, so it's like, the only way to do these things to maintain it is like dialing in that space and having patience and time. It's not you can't maintain your same growth cycle and think, oh, well, I harvest this much per year. It's like, well, now you've just extended maybe 2 months of time of just working this plant through to get rid of this shit. The sprays you're suggesting, this is week after week after week, and then month after month. So like, you may look at 3 months before we're going into flower now, and your veg isn't huge because your plant suffered.
I should mention too, real quick, just the solution. It's 2 drops, because usually you're getting this as like an essential oil. So you'd get 2 drops per ounce of water. And usually I mix a spray bottle, and I'll keep that spray bottle available.
16 ouncer, we'll say, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yep. And good ratio, works out, and it does work.
And it's all natural stuff too. And your garden smells really nice with those ones too. I've done the mix there. And the thing with the essential oils too is they work good as long as you don't have a full-on infestation. Because then it's like, sometimes, again, I had to go to Green Cleaner, which has some essential oils too, but it's the addition of the neem, which people are scared of. That's an asterisk for a lot of people. But sometimes, man, it's so extreme that you can't just go with some peppermint and, the geranium and just a little light stuff. You really got to just suffocate it. So having that trifold effect kind of gives you all 3 of those, where you're given that, like, a recovery period where it's not just heavy, heavy, heavy. You know what I'm saying? It's heavy, natural, light, heavy, natural, light, heavy. So it's like, you got to think about the recovery time of your plant, because you can kill all this shit, but you're probably killing your plant too. And that's just not worth it. Again, your yield will suck at either side, having these pests or not, because you've done all of this stuff that's counterproductive for growing a plant. So I think that's something to really consider before you're even wasting the time doing any of this stuff.
Yeah, and a couple of things that you had mentioned, like potential solutions and stuff. One thing that pops into my mind that I don't know if we emphasize enough, but genetics can influence some of these things, like powdery mildew in particular, kind of going back to that for a minute. Like, there are genetics out there that are resistant to it, right? So like, and a lot of breeders will proudly advertise that, and we could get into a whole discussion on what is considered resistant, how much testing has to be done in order to be resistant, so on and so forth. I think a lot of breeders out there are actually just saying it and not actually that's the case, but there are genetics out there that are resistant. When Rob was talking about the powdery mildew and how it happened run after run, was it the same genetics? Hey, maybe maybe it's
That's
just,
what I think it was,
you just
susceptible
need
to
new type of genetic in order to get rid of it. And one other thing that kind of brings up, now that we're back on powdery mildew for a minute, is the immune system. And something that impacts it, which I don't know if a lot of people know about, is insect frass. And when you're adding that into the medium there, and that's breaking down, the plant's actually getting access to something that's going to help their immune system and help prevent that powdery mildew from being able to form on the plants. So that's one of those things where I know I learned that from the Build a Soil website. It's on their insect frass listing, which I thought was super cool. It's like something that folks that get powdery mildew often, are you aware of it, right? Have you tried insect frass? I'd love to know in the comment section below if anybody's actively using that and if it helps them or not.
Well, and that's the thing is building your plant to be resilient. Sometimes you can deal with these issues and it won't have a problem at all. I've had some genetics that I've had spider mites for and they'd web. It got that bad. And other ones, they just like, I saw a couple marks and in the same room. I'm like, damn, they didn't go anywhere. It seemed like ones with limonene, the sharp limonene, they were the most attracted to. They loved the most. They would somehow gravitate towards that. And other ones that were like the gassier funk with more pinene or myrcene, they didn't really care as much about it. And there probably is some sort of science to that. I'm not 100%. If you're listening or watching and you know that, please share. But it seems like, again, the genetic susceptibility to some of these issues, they're more prone to struggle. And, you know, if you've run into this in your space, maybe you don't want to have those genetics. You know, it's a great tip there. I didn't really think about the fact that that's why I killed it off and I didn't see it again. Same grow. You know,
could just be the genetics that are
and Trey ran into it too. Trey, that's why I was stuck on that bro science systemic stuff, because Trey had it also, and I'm like, damn, is it just in the genetics? And I'm like, no. Well, you live down the street in Michigan, and it's summertime. Everyone's getting powdery mildew right now, but it's just that particular genetic would take it.
Be more prone to it.
Yeah, other ones maybe have it. If I were to test to get it tested, but it didn't show. I wasn't getting spots. There was no leprosy or nothing, you know?
One thing I want to kind of just jump back on, because you mentioned it and we kind of glossed over it, the neem getting a bad rap.
It's in flower. That's the confusion, in my opinion. People are going heavy in flower.
Correct. And people are attributing CHS, cannabis hypermesis syndrome, with neem oil overdose. Is it azoractin? What's
azadirachtin?
Azadirachtin. That's the main component in neem. As it's directed. It's been told this. It's an overdose. It's an overdose of that. It's not the neem. And why is it an overdose? Well, because it's being found on finished product, and people are consuming poison, and then getting sick, viciously sick, and then this in turn is being considered as CHS. Because it's the violent vomiting.
Yeah, from a clear third-party substance. It's the reason why we wash our plants for pesticides.
That's correct.
You know, but we can't wash our dried, cured flower.
Right. And how are you supposed to get it off?
And that's the thing.
That the can is getting blamed for.
We get hit with it always.
This plant can make you do this. Well, is it actually the plant? No,
or
it's what you've sprayed on the plant.
Done to it. Correct. Correct.
But then that gives people then the immediate, when you hear that word, it's neem?
Right. No, and that's why I like to have this conversation, because
it's good to bring it up.
I use it, and I have used it for years.
We need to have one of the
that
scientists.
Explains a few things.
We need to have one of the scientists on the show that have some data, maybe break down a little bit for us about the use case and why people may run into this. That'd be a good one. Just so people can, it's like my kid's mom would never believe me even if I had facts. I had to have a doctor say it. Maybe people will believe if we have someone that's a doctor, you know, degree of some kind. So.
Mrs. P gets upset with me all the time because I'm so convincing on things I know nothing about.
Yeah.
She's like, is it really? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like
I just went on for like
time. Feel like it is. But yeah, man, if you guys have had experiences with issues in the past and you struggled to bounce back, maybe these tips will help you. And if you've bounced back very well, you've recovered and you've been able to do better in your garden because of it, let us know below some of these horror stories that became glory stories, brother. This FTS clip was brought to you by AC Infinity, leaders in garden innovation. Use discount code TheStash15 at checkout to save some money on your order.
From the Stash Podcast.